Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Drawing Down the Stars. I'm Snappy. Thank you for joining me for our live tarot session today, October 18th, 2024. It's a beautiful day and a wonderful evening. Let's start out by giving a shout out here to the chat. So, Hermission Mez, the song is called Lady Carrie's Dompe, and it's early music, English music, unknown composer. Really beautiful piece, though. I love it because it's kind of jazzy. It sounds modern for something so old. It's beautiful. I love it. Anyway, let's continue here. Shout out to Gnostic. Oh, good to see you, Neil. Much love. Good to see you, Lisa. Good evening, Lilith. Ganymede, good to see you. Mission Mez, good evening. Lilith, good evening. Taz, good morning. Great to see you, Foundations. All the love in the world, Mother Rhea. Good to see you, Daphne. Gandhi, much love. Nikosmas, good evening. Carrie, great to see you. Much love. Stoic, good evening. Abbott, much love. Thank you. You're too kind. Barb, much love. Isaac, great to see you. All right. Who else we got here? Oh, Dakota Clay, great to see you. Roving Fungus, much love. Sethronomicon, great to see you. All right, guys, thank you. It's great to see so many people here bright and early for our tarot session. Let's start out by talking a bit about the astrology. So we're still in that beautiful full moon energy, and it's the full moon in Taurus. Powerful, deep, loving energy, grounded energy in the earth, energy bound in the present, right? It's ruled by that Venus energy as well, right? Taurus is all about physicality. You're going to feel that energy of wanting to be physical, about wanting to love and be in touch with the body and commune with the body and others in loving touch, right? You're going to want to be in that practical mode of doing the domestic, of being involved in the home, of being involved with loved ones. And now is an amazing time to really get to the depth of this foundational, grounded, present energy, to really be in the family, to be in your foundation, and to connect to those around you, and to recognize what you need to do in order to flow and to harmonize. And it will help you appreciate what you have. So often we're so fixated, especially people who are practicing magic, on the imagined, on future, or on the past. Rarely are we grounded in the present. But when we see this energy of Taurus, you have to take advantage. Take a moment, sit back and relax. Love life. And with this energy of the sun in Libra, it's such a profound moment for harmony, for flow, and for communication. We are grounded in the present. You're connected to the family. And with that Libra, you can really commune and be in loving harmony with your loved ones, with the people close to you. So take advantage of this full moon and really be in the earth, be in the body, be with those people who love you and that you love. Love it. Amazing. So let's talk a bit for a moment about the title today. So thank you, Barb, for the lovely comment. It's a beautiful title, and it's one that comes from the Six of Swords. I drew this morning when I was meditating. Science, pure reason, the middle path in the suit of air and swords. And what is science really about? It's about expanding our perspective. It's about learning to see things from multiple dimensions so that the two-dimensional becomes three-dimensional, so that we can fully comprehend and see what is presented before us. It is that act of giving birth to speech, of speaking truth as well, not simply participating in that act, but being a scientist, perceiving, creating, speaking, cutting. So much power in this energy, right? And it's about learning to really combine perspectives In order to see clearly, in order to have that greater intelligence, you must see beyond the self. You must listen to those around you and then use your reason and your knowledge of the self to form a more concise opinion. But science goes even beyond this. You must go beyond the people closest to you, and you must expand into the realm of tools and books and academia and greater knowledge, which requires even greater expanding of perspective. And a lot of people get stressed or get uncertain in this area because the more you learn, the more you expand your perspective outwards, the harder it is to reconcile with the self or to fully understand and to grasp, right? To truly know something, you have to be willing to be taught. You have to accept that you don't understand, and you have to trust the greater consensus. It's a simple fact. Learning to combine perspectives and to see beyond the self is necessary for manifesting that middle way. All right. And I want to read to you guys a beautiful poem. It's by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. It's called Cheerfulness Taught by Reason. I think we are too ready with complaint in this fair world of gods. Had we no hope indeed beyond the zenith and the slope of yon gray blank of sky, we might grow faint to muse upon eternity's constraint round our aspirant souls. But since the scope must widen early, is it well to droop for a few days consumed in loss and taint? O pusillanimous heart, be comforted, and like a cheerful traveler take the road, singing beside the hedge. What if the bread be bitter and thin in thine inn, and thou unshod to meet the flints? At least it may be said, because the way is short, I thank thee, God. Because the way is short, I thank thee, God. Beautiful energy, right? Recognize that life expands and widens early, and that we are always going to be on the cusp of understanding, right? And so much of our understanding has to come from trust and love and cooperation, right? And understanding. Too few of us take a moment and stop and recognize what it entails, something like science. Science is not born from individuals. No matter what the great stories they tell you of the Einsteins or the Newtons, these are individuals who write things down and start moments, but that's what it is, moments. And even these people had teachers. Einstein had a wife who didn't get credit. All of the science only can exist in community. True great understanding can't come from the individual. I remember a few days ago, I was listening to this interview with these MMA fighters. I don't even know how I got to this video. I don't even remember what it was, YouTube algorithm stuff, but I was intrigued by what these people were saying, even though, it's something that's totally out of my wheelhouse. And what really hit hard to me is one of the fighters said that recognize if you were to take a child and you were to train them 12 hours a day, every day of their life until they were 18 to fight, but only they could learn through their own means. Not they could train all that time, but they couldn't learn from others. This person, even with all that strength and practice, would lose to the first seriously trained MMA fighter in minutes. It's just a reality because modern MMA fighters have the reward and the basis of all of that teaching that has come before them. They have learned, they have the ability to study and to look at countless other fights. If you don't have access to that knowledge, if you've never sparred with another, no amount of training will ever prepare you. And this is the trueness in just about every field. In my own field of music, right? If you are a self-taught musician, you have a certain bar that you can reach. You will not expand beyond that bar unless you learn to speak and harmonize with others. All right. We are now going to go to our Ganapati oracle. Ganapati Ganesha is that Lord of beginnings, the divine child, the master of the threshold, and the Lord of the Ganas. Oh, wow. We got a card shooting out at us, and it's one we've seen. Drive. Beautiful energy, drive. And this is an energy sometimes Taurus needs. They need to be yoked and pushed, driven, right? Beautiful energy here. Look, Ganapati upon the chariot. And this is really truly representative of that chariot card, of that Hephaestus Helios energy, right? That energy of moving, of taking responsibility, of donning the armor, and is doing what is necessary for you, for your path and for your way, right? Beautiful. Take this opportunity. Recognize what, Taurus, this full moon in Taurus will give you the opportunity to truly recognize what is important and meaningful. And that Ganapati energy of drive is showing you to go towards it. All right, let's continue. We are going to start today, Sortes, with The Divine Comedy by Dante. So the Sortes is a form of bibliomancy, that's divination through literature. It comes to us from the Greco-Roman tradition, and we invoke the goddesses of inspiration, the divine muses, and we ask them to guide our hand and to send us a message through the text. So muses, what is today's inspiring message? All right, Dante, what do you got to say? I wish to know if man can give you such satisfaction by other good intentions for his broken vows as not to weigh short on your scales. Oh, wow. Immediately we're seeing that energy of Libra, justice, the scales, right? And we're seeing that weighing of the heart versus the feather. Great Egyptian imagery. Wow. I wish to know if man can give you such satisfaction by other good intentions for his broken vows as not to weigh short on your scales. Wow. Can you ever be forgiven for broken vows, broken promises, right? Promises, intense energy. Oof. Don't make promises you can't keep. Right? Wow. Let's continue. Okay. We are going to go to Women Who Run with Wolves. Myths and Stories of the Wild Woman Archetype by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. So muses, what is the message from Christina Pinkola Estes? Inspire us this evening. The old wild mother knows how much she has of these transformative substances. The king comes to count the pairs, not in jealous ownership, but to discover if anyone new has arrived in the underworld to begin a deep initiation. The soul world always awaits the novice and the wanderer. The wild mother knows how much she has of these transformative substances. The king comes to count the pairs, not in jealous ownership, but to discover if anyone new has arrived in the underworld to begin deep initiation. The fruit is left to be eaten, to entice people into initiation. The soul world always awaits the novice and the wanderer. Wow. Beautiful imagery. Are you able to wander? Let's continue. We're now going to go to Lao Tzu, the Tao Te Ching. Okay. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Lao Tzu? Inspire us this evening. The Tao produced one, one produced two, two produced three, three produced all things. Wow, how beautiful. The Tao produced one, one produced two, two produced three, three produced all things. You know, and we see this same imagery just about everywhere. You know, in that Greco-Roman tradition that I so love, you see this with that imagery of the chaos gap. Out of the chaos gap comes Phanies, right? And then it is that Phanies is ripped apart to be the divine twins. And then it is the war and love of the divine twins that produces the unfolding of all, right? Beautiful. And it is that great Trinity, you know, the mother and her twins, primal imagery. Beautiful. Let's continue. We're now going to go to Lorca, 3 tragedies. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Lorca? Inspire us this evening. Well, that's up to you. Look, I'm going to take my husband as food. That's something to see. Too bad I can't see my sweetheart, isn't it? Wow. Well, that's up to you. Look, I'm going to take my husband as food. That's something to see. Too bad I can't say my sweetheart, isn't it? Wow. You know, and we have this imagery of the bonds, right? Broken vows and broken promises. And now we have someone who's bound to someone but doesn't love them, serves them, but out of obligation. Wow. Let us see. Edgar Allan Poe, The Telltale Heart, and Other Writings. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Edgar Allan Poe? And the rumor of this new presence having spread itself whisperingly around, there arose at length from the whole company a buzz or murmur, expressive of disapprobation and surprise, then finally of terror, of horror, and of disgust. Wow. See how it starts, right? The magic and the meme, it spreads, right? Takes hold and becomes manifest. And the rumor of this new presence having spread itself whisperingly around, there arose at length from the whole company a buzz or murmur, expressive of disapprobation and surprise, then finally of terror, of horror, and of disgust. Right? As all of them start to speculate, right? What begins as a rumor turns into a story, turns into a horror story. We see this constantly, right? Recognize when things are obscured and not properly perceived and conceived. That's when the imagination can take hold and turn something into a nightmare, into a horror story. We've all seen this happen. You know, the scariest monsters in movies are always the ones you don't see. You know? And it's when these ideas get taken up by the mob that they become transformed into true horrors. And then the mob reacts. Terrifying. Let's continue. What do we want to do? Let's go to Euripides, 10 plays. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Euripides? Inspire us this evening. O children of Zeus, is it lawful for us to approach you in speech? It is, for you are not defiled with this slaughter. O children of Zeus, is it lawful for us to approach you in speech? It is, for you are not defiled with this slaughter. Wow. What defiles one and makes it so that they are not allowed to speak in the presence of gods? Slaughter. Intense. All right. We're going to go now to Paradise Lost and Regained by Milton. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Milton? Inspire us. Depart from this happy place, our sweet recess, and only consolation left familiar to our eyes. All places else inhospitable appear and desolate, nor knowing us, nor known. And if by prayer incessant I could hope to change the will of him who all things can, I would not cease to weary him with my assiduous cries. Wow. Departure from this happy place, our sweet recess, and only consolation left familiar to our eyes. All places else inhospitable appear and desolate, nor knowing us nor known. And if by prayer incessant I could hope to change the will of him who all things can, I would not cease to weary him with my assiduous cries. Wow. When faced with the transformation and the darkness and the despair of the adventure, when you're going through that underworld, what do we see from Milton here? We see that even if he could cry out and hope to change his plight and beg the gods, he wouldn't. He wouldn't. He would rather go through the experience, because they recognize the experience is the point. That is where the lesson is gained. All right. We're now going to go to John Steinbeck, East of Eden. All right. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Steinbeck? Inspire us this evening. They didn't want to be sad as much as they wanted to be happy. It is easy to find a logical and virtuous reason for not doing what you don't want to do. They didn't want to be sad as much as they wanted to be happy. It is easy to find a logical and virtuous reason for not doing what you don't want to do. Boom. Oof. And that's a thump. And it's also a sign that, again, why the perspective is so important. Because we are all prone to this. We even subconsciously are prone to this type of behavior, and often cannot recognize it unless we are called on it. Unless we are called on it. Wow. Interesting. Okay. We're now going to go to The Stranger by Albert Camus. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Camus? Inspire us. Once I was in my cell, I asked to have them back, but I was told I wasn't allowed. The first few days were really rough, That may be the thing that was hardest for me. I would suck on chips of wood that I broke off my bed planks. I walked around nauseated all day long. I couldn't understand why they had taken them away when they didn't hurt anybody. Later on, I realized that that too was part of the punishment. But by then, I had gotten used to not smoking it, and it wasn't punishment anymore. I got used to it. I adapted and I overcame, and it was no longer punishment. Wow. I'll read this back. Once I was in my cell, I asked to have them back, but I was told I wasn't allowed. The first few days were really rough. That may be the thing that was hardest for me. I would suck on wood chips that broke off my bed planks. I walked around nauseated all day long. I couldn't understand why they had taken them away when they didn't hurt anybody. Later on, I realized that that too was part of the punishment. But by then, I had gotten used to not smoking, and it wasn't a punishment anymore. Sometimes great adversity forces us to adapt, and this leads to positive change, right? There can be growth even in the darkest of times. So many people who I've spoken to who have gone or experienced prison have come out better people. Not everyone, but there are many. Interesting. Let's continue. The White Goddess by Robert Graves. Okay. Muses, got my hand. What is the message from Robert Graves? Inspire us this evening. The Jackal's address to Isis. Grant Enup's children this, to howl with you, Queen Isis, over the scattered limbs of wronged Osiris. What harder fate than to be woman? She makes and she unmakes her man. In Jackal land it is no secret who tempted red-haired ass-eared Set to such bloody extreme, who most must therefore mourn and fret to pacify the unquiet ghost. And when Horus, your son, avenges this divulsion, scepter in fist, sandals on feet, we shall return across the Sana from loyal Jackal land to gorge 5 nights and days on ass's meat. Wow, this is wild. Let me read this back again and we'll go through it. The Jackal's address to Isis. Great Anup's children this, to howl with you, Queen Isis, over the scattered limbs of wronged Osiris. That power of mourning, that great magic of mourning, right? Isis crying out after the dismemberment of Osiris is that call that causes the world to transform, right? What harder fate than to be woman? She makes and she unmakes her man. In Jackal land it is no secret who tempted red-haired ass-eared Set to such bloody extreme, right? This is a wild one. They're saying that it was Isis who tempted Set, right? It was that jealousy. It was his desire to possess Isis that led to Osiris's death, right? Who most must therefore mourn and fret to pacify the unquiet ghost. Because her beauty caused this, it is she who cries and mourns the loudest to pacify the unquiet ghost, right? And when Horus, your son, avenges this divulsion, scepter in fist, sandals on feet, we shall return across the Sana from loyal Jackal land to gorge 5 nights and days on ass's meat. How does the pacification happen? It's through the vengeance, right? Horus takes revenge on Set. Set is the donkey. Whose ass are they eating? Wild. I love it. Beautiful. Thank you, Robert Graves. All right. What do we want to go to next? Maybe it was all her idea. She is the one who causes the cycles to transform. Of course, it was her idea. It's all about the unfolding of creation and the transforming of cycles, right? And we need to recognize the violence and the death is necessary. It's part of why she mourns, because she must remake and unmake her man again and again. Theurgy and the soul, the Neoplatonism of Iamblichus. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message of Iamblichus? Iamblichus believed that theurgy was entirely compatible with Plato's teaching on the soul, and that it provided a practical solution to the problem of embodiment. Yet Iamblichus's apology for theurgy did more than address the philosophical problem of the soul's embodiment. More generally, it provided a defense of religious ritual against well-known arguments brought forward by Porphyry in his letter to Anibo and on his treatise on the abstinence of animal food. Far from being a mere propaideia to philosophy, Iamblichus argued that the concrete performance of ritual was the culmination of one's philosophical development. Theurgy tied to soteriology, to cosmology, and allowed the soul to share in both. Wow. Right? Theurgy, ritual worship, right? That loving adoration of deity and all of the rites associated was the embodiment of philosophy. It was turning philosophy into action, right? And it allowed one to bring soteriology and cosmology into union, and it allowed the soul to participate in both. Beautiful imagery. Wow. Let's continue. We're going to do one last sortes, and then we're going to call it. We're going to go to Sylvia Plath, the bell jar. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Sylvia Plath? Inspire us. The egg-shaped rock didn't seem to be any nearer than it had been when Cal and I had looked at it from shore. Wow. Chasing after that egg, that cosmic egg that returned back to the one. And even though they're moving towards it, they're striving after it, it still seems forever out of that reach. Right? This is that eros of distance. This is what it is when Bacchus is in adoration of Venus. He extends himself to the stars, but he cannot reach her, for they are separated. Wild. It is only when he draws her down to earth with the changing of the seasons at the great Eleusinia that their love can be realized. You have to wait for the right time in the right place. If you strive out of cycle, it will always be out of reach. All right, let us go to our tarot proper. But before I do, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a big difference. It boosts everything in the algorithm, and I would truly appreciate it. And if you're at all interested in a private reading, please reach out to me, snappydts@gmail.com. All right, we're going to use the Thoth Tarot of Lady Frida Harris and Aleister Crowley. And we are going to invoke the energy of Saturn, and we ask them to dissect our life, to cut it up and put it on the plate, to show us the interconnections. And we ask, how do we best move and flow? How do we overcome our present situation? How do we evolve? How do we manifest our true will? And what is the greater message for the community? And as always, the center card is our most important. And today's center is work. Work. All right. Beautiful energy, building in the present, doing what is necessary to manifest and to transform into the future, recognizing that your actions today are what create your future. And that if you do not build in the physical, you cannot manifest the tower, right? And it is the three of discs. It is the three that begets all, remember? This is that expansive growth, doing the acts that's necessary to manifest the all. Where are we going? Beautiful. If we can connect in that work, doing what is necessary, then we can also achieve this fulfillment. Fulfillment in this emotional connection, this sharing in reciprocal loving flow, community, loving, compassionate friendship, in that number of the 9, expansive abundance. The 9 is the strongest, most powerful number in the Pythagorean system. This is not simply connection. This is overflowing connection in abundance. Look, as these cups, the love pours out an ever expansive flow, right? That loving energy grows out of this. If you continue to do the work, you will build more connections, more friendships, more companionships. Beautiful. Right. Wow. And it's also about doing what is necessary to maintain what you have built. Part of the energy and part of the work here is the work of maintenance, the work of tending to the garden, right? Weeding, protecting the fruit, protecting the tree, looking over what has been built and doing what is necessary to continue to build forward. If we do not act in that prudence, if we are not sure of our foundation, when you build and expand upon it, your tower will fall. So the work here is about, on one hand, building that community, connecting to people, making those friendships in that loving, expansive flow. And it is about tending and maintaining and protecting what has been built so that you can expand upon it. Let's continue. At the top of our card, of our square, we have the art card. The art card. Interesting energy. We drew this card yesterday as the defining card, the signifier, when I meditated in the morning. And this is that energy, right, of coming together in unity in order to create something greater than the self, right? Recognize the divine androgyne, the Phanes, the Hermaphroditus, Adranahari Ishvara, the Rebbe, that combination of male and female coming together to create something greater than the self. The animals, the red and the white, all putting it together to give birth to the next generation, the new, something that is greater than what came before. This is about coming into harmony, coming into flow, into that procreative engagement, working with another for that purpose of expansive creation that is greater than the self, right? That art that produces life, either through images, through love, or through the creation of children, right? Beautiful, beautiful energy. Where is this going? Wow. This is intense imagery to get together. That lust card, that strength card, this is Medea, right? This is that Basileia. This is that mother of the gods. This is that savior on the earth, the one who rides the great beast, ascends and draws down the star, and then gives birth to the new form, right? These two cards are kind of in harmony with one another. You know, it is this lust, this fiery passion that gives us the strength and the power in order to have that ability to transform, to engage that frenzy, right? The frenzy of that basileia, the frenzy of Attis that can allow you to ride upon that beast and draw down the star, do what is necessary to engage the transformation. And then the art is that consummation, the coming together of forms for the procreative production of the new generation. Let's continue. Oh, wow. Libra, adjustment, balance. Incredible, incredible energy, you know? This is about, with that adjustment energy, that justice energy, right? The justice is the other side of the lust card. These are two sides of the same coin, two of the same kind of divine virgin energy, right? And these two energies are coming together for the purposes of that procreative art, right? The adjustment, the Libra, the scales, the bringer of justice, that Virgo, right? Or sorry, that Libra, right? And then on the other hand, we have that Leo, right? The fiery lion, that energy of the beast that must be tamed and ridden by justice for the purposes of that procreation and that creation, right? That coming together for the creative work. Beautiful, beautiful energy. Well, let's continue. We have here failure to materialize. What I'm seeing here is that it's at the bottom of our square and it's connected to that work and to that art, right? And what I'm seeing here is that in the past, there has been a failure to materialize, to expand beyond that foundational energy, to move and to build. And this is the defining energy, right? And we need to learn to expand, to move beyond it, to engage that prudence, to do the work that is necessary to maintain, right? To engage that other for the purposes of overcoming that failure, right? We overcome the failure by coming together in harmony to produce something together. Let's see where this is going. Yeah. That Lucifer devil energy, wild, connected to that failure. What I'm seeing here is that it is about focus. It's about what you want. It's about where you're directing the energy, right? This energy of the devil is that power to ascend the mountain, to rise to the occasion, right? Again, related to that Medea energy, deeply related, that satanic energy. It's this energy of transformation, right? Of shining that light, of manifesting one's will. And what I'm seeing here is that the failures of the past are a result of not having a clear focus, of not coming together with a shared perspective for the creative process, you know, of not doing the work necessary. But we have the ability and the power to do it, to overcome this. We just need to believe and to do what is necessary. How is that showing up? The sun. Beautiful. The sun is the 666. It is the middle way realized. It is abundance and fulfillment on the earth, security, love, children, everything realized. It comes when you recognize that that is what you want. And when you can share in that perspective and together can overcome these failures of the past and result in that abundance. in that realization of one's dreams upon the earth. Enlightenment, finding the true will, right? Helios, Apollo, the master and lord of the muses. Wow, I love it. I'm going to flip my camera, but before I do, once again, please give me a like and a subscribe. And if you're at all interested, reach out for a private reading, snappyddts@gmail.com. So let's take a look. Here is our full square. All right. So we'll start here. The key to this happiness, the key to the happiness is having the audacity to ask for what you want, right? To have the audacity to ask for what you want, quite literally. You want that happiness. You want that lust, that fiery passion. You want to be transformed and to embrace that fiery, loving energy. And you have the power to manifest it. You just have to ask for it and be clear about what you want. You want that loving connection that results in that inspiring energy that creates community, friendship, and abundance. You want that strength to be able to rise to the occasion, to connect and tame that beast, to draw down the stars and flip the poles, give birth to the new generation. In our center here, we have to be able to do the work of coming together in unity for that creative process, right? And we have to persist in spite of the past failures. In spite of the past failures, we have to maintain that work, that persistence, in spite of the struggle. Recognize that we are united with another, in harmony, in partnership. And this is work that must be done together. Okay, we continue. How do we overcome the failure of the past? It is through that prudence energy, through maintaining and doing what is necessary, through listening and balancing the scales, right? Sharing in perspectives in equal weight, coming to a compromise. And when you find that compromise, that balance, that energy of working together in harmony to maintain and to grow steadily, that is when the sun is realized. The sun is realized when we have the strength to do the work that is necessary to grow. When we can compromise and see from the other perspective and balance the scales, seek forgiveness, seek justice, seek truth, find it in the other and accept the other for who they are. Wow. All right. Now let's do our crosses. We'll start here. The key to the sun is having that strength in that, doing the work, doing that Lady Babylon work. Those of you with ears to hear know what this work is. It is the work of the divine imitation, of speaking truth to power, of giving voice to justice, of drawing down the stars, right? Of following the muse and having that strength to persist and do what is necessary. When we can do that, the sun is realized. We look at our other cross here. We have the power. The devil has given us the ability to ascend the mountain. And we know we have to do the work of that ascension. The key is to balance, to be in that shared perspective, to be a united force for the purpose of creation, creative, artistic creation, right? And if you can maintain that, if you can do that, then you can build and realize your dreams. You have the strength and the power to do so. But the devil requires that middle path, requires that just path, requires that harmonious path. If you take that devil energy and you apply it without the proper adjustments, you will result in failure. All right. Wow. So much beautiful, intense, magical energy here. It's just blowing my mind. This top three, especially Leo and Libra, coming together for the purposes of artistic creation, to do the work that's necessary to give birth to the sun. But we need to be able to overcome the past failures, to have the strength to use our power, but the balance and wisdom to make the right adjustments, the strength and prudence to do it in the proper way, right? Beautiful energy. Wow. This is all about coming together with another for that greater purpose of creation, of creating the next generation. I hope this resonates with you. It deeply resonates with me. Wow, I'm a little speechless. Okay. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And we're going to do one final sortes and we'll call it an evening. All right, let's see here. What do we want? Let's go to our man, Antonin Artaud, Sinister Assassin. Muses, what is the final message from Artaud this evening? Inspire us. The meeting of the Tower of Babel with the Tower of Pisa 50,000 centuries later. And then there is a bunch of magical text. Artaud created his own language. No one really knows what it means but Artaud. But I'll read it anyway. Ibi kayar kaman ta Emma aman ta Emma Emma natar. The meeting of the Tower of Babel with the Tower of Pisa 50,000 years later. For those with ears to hear with this one, Gandhi must be laughing. All right, everyone. Enjoy Lady Babylon. Take care, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. Much love.